Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am on the road. You can tell I'm in a hotel room. I'm in Texas doing some business right now, but I didn't wanted to take the time to shoot out a video. Now this isn't how it normally looks around me, not just because I'm in a hotel, but because I'm recording on my GoPro 12 instead of my phone with a lavalier mic and the whole 9 yards. So if this sounds a little bit different, quality's choppy, I apologize, but I'm trying to get some videos out there so that I can get ahead of the game right now. Today we're going to talk about how to navigate a C&P exam very well. But before we do that, I ask that you click the like button, let the video run, and consider subscribing and sharing with others so that we can get the word out to more and more veterans. All right, let's jump into it. So there's a couple key things that I wanted to go over regarding C&P exams, because there's been a lot of information out there that says do it this way, do it that way, make sure that you tell them you're horrible, make sure blah blah blah. You know, there's just a lot there's a lot of information that I think that the public could, or the veteran community could really use if they're just getting started in their C&P exams, or if you're seasoned at this but you're thinking, man, my C&P exams are a little bit weird lately. So let's get into it. So the purpose of a C&P exam. The purpose of a C&P exam is to build out and fill out a DBQ, which we covered in the last video. And in order to fill out that DBQ, you go and see a contract medical professional. Notice I didn't say doctor, because it's not always a doctor. Sometimes it's a nurse practitioner, sometimes it's a counselor, sometimes it's a psychologist, sometimes it's a real doctor, sometimes it's a neurologist, etc. You know, such and so forth. So the thing I want you to remember here is that these are contract folks. They are strictly looking at what's in the DBQ. They're supposed to look at your service records, and they're supposed to give their opinion based on whether they think it's less than likely or not, or at least as likely that you have this condition because of some type of service connection or connection to another disability. So that is their job. The number one point I want to bring home to you here is that this is not your doctor. It's not going to be your doctor. You need to bring in all the medical evidence that you have. You need to bring in every bit of information that they need. Listen, if something's keeping you awake at night and you have insomnia and you sleep on average 3 hours a night, five hours here and there, whatever, you bring in a log. Bring in everything you have. Bring in the name of all the medications you're on. Bring in everything you have, because that is going to make a big difference in what they decide to write down. Hey, I'm on these meds, blah, 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 blah. They may know that, hey, the side effect for this medication is insomnia. So this is caused by their medication, which was prescribed for another disability. Check mark, done, right? So remember that they're not your doctor. They don't have all your information, and they're not your friend. Okay? Their job, and some of them take it one way more than the other, their job is to evaluate, and their job is to make recommendations on the DBQ form and document things. I haven't been successful on every C&P exam, and I have not had quality C&P examiners every time that I've had an exam. You have to treat these people like they are not going to look out for you. You need to look out for you. So that's number one. Number two, I said it before, I'll say it again. Don't trust them to do their job. If there's something documented in your medical records from service, and you've done the FOIA request, you've gotten your service record and your service medical records, get a copy of it, print out the PDF or the pages of the PDF that go along with that, and bring it all to your C&P exam. The only thing you're going to do is ensure that they know that you have said this is documented in your service history, and leave it with them. And if they won't take it, say, okay, but my expectation is that you're going to take a hard look at that in my service record. Don't be afraid to say that stuff. Don't be afraid of these C&P doctors like they're going to chastise you for telling them that, hey, there's stuff out there. You need to look out for you. Again, next is, and I can't say this enough, be honest and thorough. One of the pieces of advice that I give to veterans when they're going in for a C&P exam is that the minute you walk in, you are being evaluated. The minute you walk in. When you walk from your vehicle to the building, when you walk in the building to the office, when you walk in the office and speak to the receptionist, you are being evaluated. There is always potential for you to be evaluated during all those scenarios. Don't go in with, oh, I'm horrible, life sucks, etc. Don't go in with, hey, I'm great, things are wonderful. Think about the last 2 months of your life. And if you can honestly say that you haven't had any ups and downs, what are you doing in a C&P exam? Right? But most of you will agree that, hey, some days are good, some days are bad. Right? That's how I usually go in. I usually go in, they ask, how are you today? And I have a standard answer of, well, I woke up this side of the dirt, so that's good, but there's good days and bad days all around. That's how I start my conversation. I'm not lying, I'm being completely honest, but I'm not giving them a reason to write me off, right? Be honest, and then be thorough. Going back to my original point, grab your medical records, grab your log, grab buddy statements, do everything that you want included in that claim, bring it with you to your C&P exam, and be ready to do the work. Study the DBQ, understand what's going to be asked of you. Understand what they're going to be evaluating you on. Hey, they're going to use a goniometer and they're going to see, range of motion. You need to know that. Buy you one of those. They're 10, 12 bucks or something like that. Find out what your range of motion is so that you know what to expect when you go in there to that C&P exam. That's on you. That's not on the VA. That's not on, your primary doctor. It's not on anybody else but you. Figure it out, check out the DBQs, and get after it. After the C&P exam, 2 things. Document your experience. Met with, such and such doctor, or met with C&P examiner for this condition. Walked in, let them know that I have good days and bad days. I told them this, I told them that, we did this test, we did that test. I asked for the results on site. They said they couldn't share them with me, which is normally the answer you're going to get. They told me they couldn't share them with me, but they'll be providing them to the VA. The appointment took 5 minutes. If the appointment only took 5 minutes, you're going to request another one, because 5 minutes is not enough time to do this for any condition, right? So if the appointment took 30 minutes or took 15, I'd say 15 or more minutes. Then you're looking at, depending on the condition, you're going to have to weigh out, the timing yourself, whether or not they were completely thorough and that you have documented how it went. I actually had one of these happen to me where I went in for a mental health exam, and this mental health C&P examiner didn't ask me one thing about my service-connected event. Not one thing. He asked about everything else surrounding it in the periphery, and that's all he asked about. And then he said, okay, thank you. And it was 14 minutes long. So I had to send an appeal after that, send a new statement. Hey, this guy didn't do his job, and sent my appeal in after that. So don't be afraid of the system, but you need to document everything. Last thing I'm going to tell you. Fill out the survey, please. Fill out the survey for these C&P exam providers, let's call it that, these contracted agencies. Fill out that survey. If you had a crappy experience, let them know you had a crappy experience. The VA reads those surveys. They may not be taking too much action on them, but if enough of us answer it and they find out there's a problem there, then we've got something to stand on. Then they can start looking at, hey, how can we improve the C&P examiner process? Is there some type of certification they need? Is there some type of training that they need? Do we need to give them soft skill training, like how not to be a jackwad to your veterans, right? Because I've had those C&P examiners too. Went in for a hearing test once. And I walked in, I took my hearing aids out, and I sat down, and I said, yeah, this is like my second one. And she goes, that's nice. And then just got straight into business, which is okay if you get straight into business, but she gave me the impression that she didn't give one tiny crap about me being there at that time. I was an inconvenience for her, even though she's getting paid for it. And you're going to run into that, okay? It's common out there. So fill out the survey, be honest about it. If you had a good experience, tell them you had a good experience. Shoot, let's make sure that we're holding them accountable to those things that are good and bad, right? So take those tips, use them for your C&P exams, share with your friends. Thanks, everybody. Take care.